women are evil. At least that's what my dad told me. I could tell that he had some experiences that made him think this way, and to be his daughter made it a challenge because I didn't want to be evil or seen as bad by my dad, and yet I also could see some validity to the things that he said and the way women were behaving and treating one another. This is the challenge that we deal with today because women are seen in a light that they are like difficult, complicated, emotional, illogical, and there's not this space for them to just be human and not judged based on their feelings or state of being or different things. And the challenges I've faced have been interesting, but a lot of them are pretty much what all women face. I'm Latia, and I am doing my best to be the best person that I can be and to support other people and being the best people that they can be, regardless of race, color, which are kind of the same thing, gender, sex, all that. Like, whatever labels we want to put on ourselves, it doesn't matter, because at our essence, we are souls seeking love and connection. So, growing up, I felt like being a woman, besides being evil, meant that you were strong, yet you would submit to the will of others. I saw my mom and how she interacted. She has 4 sisters and 1 brother, and her brother's younger than I am, so they weren't raised together. So to see a woman who had been raised in a household of women by a strong, independent woman, my grandma had been in the Air Force. She had 5 kids, 6 kids in total, and she raised them mostly on her own. But to be a woman who is strong enough to take care of 5 kids, and she was young as well, that is incredible strength and courage. And in addition to that, I learned not to trust my mom with things because she would betray me, which proved my dad's statement right in my mind, because I was babysat by my aunt, and she watched us from the time I was in pre-K kindergarten until I was in 7th grade, when I was finally old enough to watch my siblings, which was great. But she wasn't always nice, and she would hurt my feelings, and she would do these things, and it wasn't fun. And my mom didn't have much of a choice. When you have 3 kids, it's kind of hard to find affordable health care like babysitting. So someone that you can have watch your children overnight and take care of them. So being a kid, it's like, she's mean. So, I'd go to my mom and tell her she's mean, and then our aunt would come back and be like, oh, you think I'm mean? Oh, you made a song about me? Oh, wow. And it was just like, Mom, why would you do that? I get it. Your sisters are your best friends. Honky dory, like, do what you want to do. But really, you gonna put me on blast like that? And you know I have to stay the night with her? Nah, we can't have that. So it was like, yeah, you're right, Dad. Like, women are crazy. And then growing up, I didn't necessarily fit in with many girls. So then you have that, depending on the phase of my life, girls were gossiping about me, talking about me, making fun of me, calling me names, just all sorts of things. And I am blessed with amazing sisters. The 2 who are close in age to me, they are so incredible. And I'm so blessed to have them. And my sister, Kasia, who has a dope YouTube, which if you haven't checked it out, you should, because she's amazing. But she, in times I'm like, Kasia, these girls, they just talk about me. I don't know, like, maybe they're right. Like, I know I'm gonna be better in the future, but I just don't get it. And my sister would be like, Latia, they only make fun of people who are worth talking about. So even though it hurts and it doesn't feel good, it's okay. It shows that there's something in you that's amazing. So having great, strong women to confide in can really make the difference in life. And for the most part, my sisters and my mom and one of my cousins have been like the main community for me to express myself and be who I am. Because they always love and accept me as I am. They understand that I'm a bit sassy, a bit outspoken, and I've just been accepted as Tia. Like, they're my people, and if it weren't for them, I don't know where I would be, because oh man, it gets hard, and you know, it doesn't have to. So there are a lot of challenges that come with being a woman in this day and age, in any day and age. And I have always challenged and questioned the labels that have been placed on me. And as far as being a woman, what it felt like the storyline is you get to be a strong, independent, beautiful Black woman until you're married. Then you're gonna be this person's wife. Then you're gonna be these little people's mom. And your identity is on the back burner. And fortunately, even though in the moment it was weird and sucked, my mom was like, I'm dating who I want to date. I will have these partners that make me happy. She didn't have multiple at the same time. She was one at a time. But she would date people, and we'd be like, Mom, we don't like him. Like, we don't want him over and this. And she's like, I'm not going to be an old woman single and regret that I listened to my kids. And in the moment, it's like, wow, Mom, you don't want us to be comfortable? And then there's another part of me that's like, I have mad respect for the fact that she was like, I am not going to give up my independence as a woman for your comfort as my child. And even though it's tough, it showed me that my mom, while she is definitely willing to serve her partner, she honors who she is and what she wants as an individual. So I know that she has character, and she does what she wants. She may change her mind from moment to moment, and she will stick by it. It'll be like, wow, Mom, you said you'd do this, and now it's this. And it's just like, okay. It wasn't, because I argued with her all the time, because I'm a rebellious child. I was so difficult. I love to thank her for not having killed me, because I know I pushed her to the limits. But in order to overcome these standards and rules that we have about being a woman, it's like, let's define what it means to be a woman. Like, let's take that step and really just define, like, what are the rules and expectations, and how are we supposed to show up, and what are we supposed to do? Because a lot of times we just assume that, like, woman is just, you know, a given. She's like, oh, you have a vagina. But usually we have these preconceived notions and these biases and limits that we place on women, and we don't even consider the impact of them. And it's okay, but if we stop for a moment, it gives us choice. So let's start with defining what it means to be a woman, and then from there, let's evaluate, like, where did it come from? Is it a me thing? Do I really believe this? Would I like to continue believing this? And let's just understand, like how it has formed and where it has come from, because then with this knowledge, we can now make a new choice. So I remember feeling like being a woman meant you had to be a housewife and a homemaker. And I was like, if a man thinks I'm going to be cleaning up after him and taking care of a house and a bunch of kids, he's crazy. I am more likely to get a housekeeper and a nanny than I am to be like trying to do everything myself and act like I'm Superwoman. It's like, nope, I'm not made for that. I am a smart woman, and I will make enough money that we can afford it. Like, let's go. The goal is Latia does not have to do the things she doesn't want to do, and my partner and I will find a way to make it work, because I'm sure unless he wants to do it, then he can. Also, like, I cook sometimes, but not all the time. I might cook, but at the same time, I'd rather it be like, oh, I feel like cooking, like, let's go, instead of it being like, oh my God, I have to cook. Nah, I'm not about that life. So then the last step is choose the values that matter to you and who you want to be as a person. And when you choose those goals and values, like, create an intention of how would you like to be and show up and feel in your body? How would you like others to feel when they're around you? What is the impact you want to make on the world? And from there, let's create actions. What actions would this person take? How would they show up in the world? How do they speak? How do people feel? How do they feel? And let's be intentional about how we show up in the world as human beings. We can do this for any of the things, like by things, labels that we place on ourselves, because we are not a people first world. We define people by these adjectives. So instead of it just being like, oh, that's Latia, or that's person, it's like, oh, that's a black woman, that's a black person, that's a whatever it may be. Someone who has twists in their hair, someone who wears striped shirts. Like, we create these labels, and sometimes they're like harmless. sometimes are just to like create structure, because the challenge with these labels that we have isn't that we label people. I can label someone, and sometimes it helps with a story where I'm like, oh, this white woman said this thing, this black woman said that thing, this black man said that thing, this white man said this thing. Because there are some things culturally that like sometimes it matters. Like if I'm like, this person was like, oh heck nah, and I'm like, and it was a white man, I wonder if you would think that person was gay first. I might. That's why I put it out there. But we make it seem like it's bad to acknowledge that sometimes someone's background does have an impact on how they share, where they come from, how we see them, and sometimes it's not bad. Now, if I were saying that to be rude about his sexuality, then that's a different story. But sometimes it's just like we tell stories and we define people by characteristics that we all understand because it provides context. And that's different from using that context as a weapon against them. I do not want to judge women for being women, and I know I do. And that is one of the challenges that I'm still working through, because it's easy for me to go to a man and tell him, stop, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Like, question him and be like, gosh. But when it comes to women, for me personally, it is hard for me to be like, stop talking to me like that. Don't do this. Like, I don't like to be dismissive towards women or shut them down, because I know that we live in a time where a lot of women are shut down. And so for me, I feel like an awkward 12-year-old boy most of the times. Like I'm in puberty and it's like, how do I talk to her? Like, do I want to go up to her? Is she going to be mean? Is she going to, I don't know how you're going to respond. And I don't feel that with men, because it's like pussy power. I got a vagina, so you're going to put up with me either way. That, whether real or not, saw a comedian who talked about it and I was like, facts. And so from childhood, I've always believed I'm inherently valuable as a woman, which has like given credence and like power and conviction to a lot of the things that I do. So if we are to change the narrative around how women show up and humans show up, let's acknowledge how we define these standards. So in this case, define what it means to be a woman, question that definition, what you like, what you don't like, where did it come from, how did this come to be, and for yourself, not necessarily society unless you're curious. And then 3, define your values and your standards in life and the actions that can reflect those intentions. As we define ourselves and become independent human beings, we can change the world. We can stop hating women and thinking that they're the evil ones, because there's a little bit of good and bad in all people, and we just have to find the gold. So I hope you've checked out my videos. See you in the next one.